And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics. Hey, did I say Sammy has to do his conclusion? I just say the mics are hot doesn't mean you start talking.
Yeah,
now let's try this again.
You, I want a light, man. I want a light. You do this different to me every time.
No, I say it every time. The mics are hot means you don't say anything you shouldn't be saying.
Fine.
Now, Sammy finished the conclusion, and I go, Ginger, hi, how are you? We're live this afternoon. Where have you been?
I've been right here waiting for this. I don't know, John. This is so funny. You know, you'd think after how many shows that we do, we'd get this right. I mean, just, you know, I guess we're excused as seniors. You know, God, these people are never going to get it right.
We'll never get it right.
But that's okay because, you know, we've been doing this all the time and still seem to screw it up. So, you know, when you're painting and if you're screwing something up, say, yeah, but look at John and Ginger. You know, nobody gets everything
can do it,
perfect
anybody can do
all
it.
the time, okay? So
yeah.
I'm excited today because not only is I'm so glad that all of you are here, and I want to thank our moderators for showing up.
I see Kim Sim here and Wendy and
Tanya.
Mona. Yeah,
and
Mona.
You know, she's over there in Sweden. We want to thank you guys for, you know, our moderators are
highly paid professionals.
Yeah, you know, this is volunteer, so you guys be nice to them. If you have some questions, John will read them to me. Usually if you type them in bold letters. Now here's the deal. If you're watching this at a later date wondering, where was my live show? Did you push how did I miss this live show? If this has happened to you, okay?
It does happen quite
and
often.
It happens. There may be a little gear under the subscribe button that you have to push and tell YouTube that you want to be notified.
I believe it's the bell.
You know, hate letters to YouTube are good. If you didn't get notified about this, that's
Not
okay.
that they really care. But...
Not that they care, but, you know, let us know if you didn't get notified because I get all this mail. I'm sorry if you didn't. But anyway, welcome to everybody who's here, and I imagine we'll have more people joining us. This is fun. John and I enjoy doing these shows, and we're going to be doing a Mediterranean grotto. When I was about 14, I had the opportunity to go to a tour of Europe. I started in Seattle and ended up in England, and then we crossed the channel somehow. I can't remember how we did that. There was no tunnel back then. I think we must have taken a boat. Then we got into this really tiny, cramped little Volkswagen bus with no AC, and all the kids fought to see who got the windows at the back, which were the only ones that opened. In the summer, let me tell you, it was a tour of Europe in a sweatbox. But anyway, we ended up in Italy and saw some grottos. And I've never forgotten the color of the water. Gosh, that's a beautiful place. You guys from Italy, you, man, have got some gorgeous scenery. Not that everyone else doesn't too, but I mean, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen an Italian grotto, you haven't lived. I'll tell you what. So let's talk about that. We're going to do a quick drawing lesson. We're going to have a giveaway today for those of you that are able to enter. We'll put the entry stuff on the screen, and we'll make sure that you get that. So to get that to start that happening, John, let's scoot
you want me to slide on down
slide
to the
on
desktop?
down. I want to do the drawing lesson. The drawing lesson. This is the painting, of course, we're doing today, and we're doing it on a light blue canvas. You guys all know that, but in case you missed that, just sort of a light blue canvas to start out. I wanted to talk about how to make something look round. This is an interesting thing. Some time ago, I did a demonstration. I think it even was on YouTube back when I was doing the. I think it's on YouTube. It's the one with the.
Block and tackle?
Get that picker. Can we get the block and tackle, John? Because that lesson is on YouTube. The block and tackle.
Your whisper is my command, my queen.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Doesn't that sound great? Your whisper is my command. So what I want to talk about is how you might do a rope. So let's just do a little section of rope. So you've got a rope here like this. All right? And we're going to say that it's twisted around and then it's coming this way. All right? Everybody's good with that? It's doing this. Okay, so it somehow stopped here. So, you know, I mean, so why does that look like a rope? Well, you know it's got these little section-y pieces in it, right? So if you just did this, what you've got now is a ladder. You don't have a rope. So the direction of something, when you're looking at something, Google a piece of rope and notice not just the lights and shadows, but the direction of stuff. Rope is a sort of an interesting thing. I'm going to just use my yellow chalk here. It does stuff like this. It kind of curves like this, all right? And there's these little dark spaces in between. So you sort of paint it dark first, and then you're coming around doing this. And as it meets the curve, it gets skinnier. Now, then we're changing directions. See, we're going to change directions on our rope like that, maybe. Change directions. Okay, something like that. We're going to change directions. Here's our rope. It's going to lie this way. Then what you want to do is you want to have the bottom of it in shadow. Remember, because it's round. Just like if it was a round tube, just like that, a round tube, you'd have a light and a dark section, all right, to make something look round. That's just how anything looks round. Rope would be the same way. Okay, just if that makes sense. Let me get some of my nifty little colored chalk out here. I can show you even more what I'm talking about. You see, like, for instance, when this rope curved around here, it was on the inside, was the shadow right here, kind of, was on the inside of it, like that, when it curved around this way. And this is the shadow this way. Okay, so here's our shadow, and that was really dark in here, like that. Okay, so that's kind of, then maybe you've got some light highlights, that are, you see right on here, see the lightest highlights. And the top of the rope is doing this. It's curving like this. It's got these little curvy things to it. It's not just a straight line with some of this stuff. It curves. Do you see that? So the main thing to remember when you're doing this, anything, is see if you can find the shapes. One of the things I started doing just recently was I've been putting up on our Facebook page, on our Facebook club, I've been putting up these little drawing tests. I'll show a photograph, and then I'll pick out something like the eye of a lion. I'll draw 3 different eyes and ask you guys which one most resembles the photograph. Not which is the best eye on the world. That's not the idea. But, you want to look at 3 things. Let's talk about that. We're talking about lights and darks, angle of the object that you're drawing, like this angle here. Is an angle like that. Okay? Angle, lights and darks, and shape. Those are the 3 things that you want to look for when you're trying to paint something, all right? So if you will do that, we're going to need to go back and put this light here like that. If you will do that, you will find that your art will pop more. It'll look much more realistic, okay? So, all right, so that's my fast drawing lesson for the day. Here's our block and tackle. If you didn't see this, here's a big example of how, you see how this is all curved and it's coming this way? And this one's changing direction. This is going this way. See the angle's changing? So if you're thinking about, wanting to learn something out of that, this was a lesson that really got overlooked on YouTube. Very few people did this, and I was surprised because even if you don't give a rip about block and tackles, you're going to learn a lot about dry brushing and about shading, and that stuff's invaluable when you're learning it. Okay.
Because all the lessons use that same type of techniques.
Yeah. So we're talking about that. So
no, we're not.
No, we're not talking about it. No. All right. I don't have time to put all this cute chalk away, John. We're moving on. I know that makes him crazy. So here's our picture, and what I want to do is say that I've got it. I want you to talk again. We're talking about angle, lights and darks, and shapes. So we've got some clouds kind of coming down at this angle. I'm going about 4 fingers down on 8x10 canvas. Let's get a different color chalk.
Yeah, blue on blue. I'm not sure.
Blue on blue, right? So so I've got something coming out like this, basically like a little, almost a straight line. At angle here, kind of our grotto's coming down this way and coming across like this, and that's about 4. This is about 4. Do you see this angle here? Coming up like this and this way. So really a box here. This is a little shorter box. Coming out this way, angling this way, straight up, angling out like that. And then it angles back. Okay. Okay, into our, let's see, let's get this up a little higher. Boop, doop, boop. There. So, I mean, that's how we're drawing that in. I mean, that's pretty simple. That's pretty simple. The rest is all water. Okay. So again, we're talking about brush direction, angle, shape. That's all we're talking about. So I'm going to put out some paints while we're chatting, and there's some different things that have come up. We are doing something really exciting. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. I'd say about 25% of the time when I'm getting personal art coaching in, I am making little videos and chatting with you and talking to you about your stuff, and I can do it much quicker. Sometimes when you read something, there's a maybe it's a language thing. Not everybody understands what I'm doing, saying, or just the way I wrote it doesn't make sense, or I've got some arrows and you think you know, but you don't know. But if I'm telling you and showing you at the same time, we've gotten some tremendous response from our Academy members of gingercooklive.gallery, Acrylic Art Academy, that love this personal art coaching technique where I'm actually doing small little videos, little private videos. You get the URL, that's that little funny code, and you click on it, and it takes you right to your video. And yet there's like 2 to 5 minutes, a couple of were 10 minutes long. I got a little carried away with Sylvia the other day.
That was a 15-minute.
I put on some music, and we just chatted like I was in her living room, right? As I kind of repainted her picture in on the computer with one of my painting programs, putting on some ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. This is a painting that could really use some phthalo green. Mostly I tell you don't hardly ever use it. Southern Ocean blue is another good one instead of phthalo green. But anyway, let's find our phthalo blue here, that's ultramarine.
Martha's asking, how did you decide on that blue background, and what blue is that?
Well, this was just a combination of ultramarine blue and phthalo blue and white. And when we're done with thanks, Martha, that was a good question. When we're done with a session, oftentimes I have leftover paint. All right, let's see if I can show you. I've got leftover paint, something like this. And what John will do is he'll use up all the extra paint. See how this is all flat now, and he'll just color some backgrounds. And if we have enough blue, we'll do some blue ones, some light ones. It's nice to have a background that's already done. See, I think I was hunting for the phthalo blue. I think I was doing that, and oh, here it is, a big tube right in front of me. Boy, you couldn't have missed that. If it shouted at me, I'm here, right? So anyway, that was
jumping up and down.
That was kind of interesting. And I want to give a big shout out to Judith Guitar. She's one of our most dedicated moderators on our Facebook club. I mean, Judy's on it all the time, and she's always looking for things that are interesting to our members. And one of the things she came up with this week is she found a link to some really cool on YouTube. Apparently, there's some videos on the Impressionists, just sort of little quick art history lessons, and about Monet and Van Gogh and these different guys and who knew who and what their deal was. And those are free on YouTube. And she suggested, as artists, since we do a lot of the old dead guys when we're painting, that our members might find that very instructive. And I had not seen those, so I'm always interested in new things like that. So I want to thank Judy for that. This is the kind of stuff she does. She'll tell you where the sales are. If she finds a sale, you'll know about the sale. And then we've had some different members contribute some wonderful. We got to thank Eric, because he's the one that started our suggested and really is kind of in charge of our March Madness challenge, where we've invited our members. I can't remember how many do we have now, John? In the March
we're pushing 350.
350 decided to do the challenge. Now, we didn't say there was a prize involved. We probably will be, but knowing us, there probably will be. But do it for the challenge of it. I think you've got to do a couple of my videos, one from either YouTube or the Academy. Come up with something on your own. And what was the third thing? Do
a palette knife.
Do a palette knife.
You take a palette knife to a lesson that was not a palette knife lesson.
Yeah, and see if you could do it in a palette knife. And so, we've got a palette knife playlist on YouTube of I really personally feel some of the best instructions on how to use a palette knife ever. And you might want to watch a few of those. Watch the one with the most views first. That's one of my favorites. Got like about 500,000 views. That's a really good one. Even one of the biggest palette knife people on the planet, and I won't mention names, but this guy's one of the bigger ones. He subscribed to our channel after he saw that, made a comment on how nice I thought he was. So just saying, even the guys that just do 100% palette knife, kind of like that one, okay? And since no one ever told me how to do a palette knife, I probably have ways to do it no one else does, which is kind of cool too.
Because you didn't, yeah, you experimented on your own.
Yeah, I experimented on my own. All right, so the first thing I want to do, I'll take a small brush here, and I'm not gonna. Well, this is not that big. It's a bright brush, and not smart, clever, but squared off. Okay, it's say a filbert's a little bit longer. You know, I don't like those for. They're good for oil, but not.
Isn't the filbert also the cat tongue? It's curved.
No, a filbert just is the same brush but longer.
Oh.
A lot of people buy this by mistake, thinking they're buying a bright brush, and the thing is, they don't work as well. For acrylics, they're a fine brush. They're just not, you know, the way I paint. And let's see, this is I think probably a 10, and I'm going to wet it. Now people always say you never paint with water. No, we're not doing watercolor here, friends. We're doing acrylic painting in the oil painting style. So the brush is damp. It's been squeezed off. We're going to start with a light blue, so that means we're going to start with white first and take a little tiny bit of phthalo blue and add to that. There's our color. Let me just put my picture over here so I can kind of, you know, get a sense of what I'm painting. And I want a little tiny bit of ultramarine blue in that too, kind of tone that, and a little bit more white. Now this is a little bright. This is a little too circuitsy, so let's take a little tiny bit of cad red medium, add to that, and tone that down. Maybe a little bit more, okay, like less than what's on the head of a pin. Okay, this is how little. Let's just try that. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, a little more white with that maybe. Okay, so we're just going to come in here like that, and using just strokes that are kind of coming down a little bit at an angle, kind of overlapping. See that? I'm overlapping, always working the wet edges, kind of walking it down. Let's come up this way. And I've got some white over this, you know, some white clouds over this, but this is a good background color. Okay, like that. We're just going to bring this down to our, and I'm pushing pretty hard. Someone says, how hard are you pushing? I am pushing pretty hard, constantly working the wet edges. Just kind of shoving it in here to the paint. And then as I come down toward my ocean, my horizon line is right about here. So as I come down here, I'll just sort of stop there. Now I'm going to take a little more white just on the brush here. Now I'm going to hold it flat. See this? Look, it's lying flat in my hand, fingers there. Everybody sees that? Barely touch it. Coming up here like this, like it's sunburned. And I'm just going to put in a few fluffy clouds. You ever do clouds like that? Barely touch it, still wet on the background. Just a few fluffy clouds. How about that? A little bit more white, kind of wipe it off here. Let's just say, here we go. It's just sort of one of those hazy days. Like that. Come around the, this. Not trying to cover up the whole thing, but there we go. Something like that. We've got this sort of hazy background. Let's do another layer right here, right where this tree is going to be. Barely touching it now. Just a flat brush. There we go. All right, that's kind of cool. Okay, and then let's see. As long as we're, you know, happily painting, let's take some of this color and come this way now, changing the direction of the brush strokes. And I'm going to add a little bit more ultramarine blue to that, and phthalo blue. Darken this up. Ooh, too much. Too much, you guys. Too much.
Wow.
A little tiny bit of red. That's really like kryptonite when you start adding all this blue. And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow with it. Okay, kind of warm that up a bit. Okay, just like this, and we're going to come this way. Well, we'll start with this and then lighten it up later. Let's start with this color, sort of this teal color. Okay.
Again, it's all about layers.
Yeah, it's all about layers. So that's exactly right. So this is and the brush strokes are all going kind of this way. Does that make sense? And it's just if the blue starts changing colors as I paint it, I don't mind. And put a little bit more yellow in this, a little bit more white. Okay, and as I get down toward here, I've got it almost into the green tones. So I get down toward here, a little more white with this. See, when I run out, when it starts to not paint anymore, I get more paint on the brush. It's just one of those little tricks, right?
You get more paint instead of water.
Yeah, I don't get water. I don't go to the water. I get more paint. And so now it's like this is a pretty nice layer of that. All right, so let's see how this pretty deep, you know, colored water right here like that.
Oh, we have a long question came in from Nikki.
Oh, yeah, what did Nikki want to know?
Cinnamon has said that the best thing you ever did for her art as a child was not correct her art. How did you manage that? When my daughter does something, it's hard not to make helpful suggestions. How did you handle it? I really want my daughter to enjoy art as much as she already does.
Well, that's a really good question. Really, honestly, that's such a good question. If I had a bell, I would ring it. Where did my bell
Where
go?
is the bell?
We had a
Sammy?
bell. Did
You
somebody
had the
take?
bell. I
Did
heard
you
it the
guys
other day.
take? Did you
Drop.
guys take my bell?
That could have been the question of the day if we had a bell.
We don't have a bell. So, gosh, so sorry. You would have gotten a question of the day, but there's no bell. But if there, so sorry.
You can't be official without a bell.
There's no bell. There's no gong. There's nothing. It's not even like the $1.98 beauty show. There's no gong. No gong. No bell. Man.
What happened to me?
Where in the world did the bell go? Well, we'll just move on. Sorry about that, but it's a great question. Let me answer the question before we get too carried away with this. Let's go. As I take some ultramarine blue and burnt umber, I'm going to make our darkest color here. I'm going to come up here and just paint my rocks in dark while we're chatting. How's that? While we're chatting, we're going to paint these dark rocks in. Now, someone says, but these rocks are light. Why are you painting them dark? Because the secret to painting rocks is, friends, this is the secret. Paint them dark first. That's a no-brainer. Paint them dark first, dry it, and then you can go ahead and you remember we got this kind of angle here of the rocks, a little bit more brown over here. Then you can go ahead and add your lighter tones. You start with the darkest tones first. Okay, so this is kind of chiseled off here at the edge. So here's the thing with kids. They know that you are a good artist because you're an adult, so they assume you know everything. Doesn't matter if you suck. They think you're good, right? If your mom did it, and then they're very loyal to you too. My mom, it must be just great, you know? I remember taking Cinnamon, she was about 5 years old, to a baby shower, and we'd gotten this gift, and I think, you know, she and I picked it out together, and we're sitting down at the baby shower, and everybody's opening the gifts for whoever it was, and don't even remember now who was pregnant, who got the gift, but Cinnamon was real excited that she got to go. Some of the kids were invited, girls anyway, and she announces after seeing a few, well, that's okay, but we got the best gift of anybody here. But that's how kids think. I mean, whatever we do, we're the best. So here's the thing: she already thinks you're great, right? He already thinks you're great. So the thing with this is that if you start criticizing them, they don't feel so good. So the trick is, if somebody asks, "How do I do that?" you can show them. But if they say you do it, you got to say something like, "You know, the thing I've noticed about you is you were just born a genius. I think you've got great talent. This is how I would do it on a separate piece of paper. Keep your paws off of theirs." How's that? That would be the one thing I would tell you. And also, Cinnamon, she would come home from school and she would make these pronouncements. You know, I remember when we lived in Southern California, and at one time there'd been a lot of tuna fish canneries, and then it came out that you know, that some dolphins were expiring because of the way that tuna was being harvested. And she announced that we were no longer eating tuna fish. You know, that was just it. These pronouncements, and I would tell her some stuff sometimes, and then I would notice that she would just totally discount whatever I said anyway, and she'd come home, and then there's this age where the teacher said it, and then it's like God himself had talked to her. You know what I mean? It's just, there's no argument. The teacher said it, must be so. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing too. You've got kind of that dynamic that's going on too with your kids. So the best thing to do is just to put their stuff up on the refrigerator, make a big deal about it, and make sure they're great. You know, that's kind of stuff. Have fun with it. I made stationery one time out of Cinnamon stuff. She'd done some cute little drawings, and I scanned it in. I don't even know how I got it onto the stationery. I think I sent it out in those days. I sent it out, had it made into stationery. She was so proud of that. I mean, I just thought it was really cute what she did. I really did think what she did was really cute. I want to come down here one more and add another little bend down here to my guy down here. Just one more bend. Do you see that? And then across, and then at this angle. Now what I have to do is dry this, okay? So John, can you mute me? Do you have something you can share with people while I'm drying?
Yeah, I think I can come up with something.
All right.
One question from Susan. What is that dark that you used?
Oh, the dark color was ultramarine blue and burnt umber.
Ah, okay, very good. Ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Let me mute you.
All right, you're muting.
Yeah, you're muted. Finally.
Well, this is great, John. We have no button.
It should work. I made sure it was plugged in.
Huh.
I made sure of it. All right, entertain the folks while we go down the hall.
Oh, sign language.
So you're not muted.
I'm not muted. You said I was muted. Well, we plugged this hairdryer clear down the hall. Okay. Hey, do you like my hairdryer? Did you see it's like got Starry Night painted all over it? Did you know we had a video up on YouTube on how to do that too? Isn't that fun? Starry. Uh-huh. Well, it doesn't work. What's your best guess? Is there some little red plug that has to be? There's that little red thing. Let's see. Is it time to replace the hairdryers?
Oh no, we can't do that.
There. This is. All right. Just want to mention there's this red button here. You've got to push. No, it doesn't work. Oh.
All right. I got her muted. I hope that muted her down some. All right, we were talking about the Facebook group earlier. Let me show you the background for that. You want to sign up for this pretty darn quick. We are closing the doors. Oh, not quite big enough. Closing the doors at 4,000 members. Okay, go there, answer the 3 questions. Moderators are always standing by to take care of your questions. I put the Facebook group up there, letting them know that we're getting down to about the last 800 members.
Yeah, and this is such a fun group to be a part of. All right, so you see where I've got it. Now we're going to start, if I can show you just with the pencil. Now what we know is that we've got some jaggedy edges here, okay? Do you like that, jaggedy edges?
It's technical talk.
Technical, and this is like slate. So here's another little jaggedy edge thing here that's coming this way at sort of an angle. Like that, and then it slants down. Little jaggedy edge stones like this. And there's some other little jaggedy edges. I think I made this wider than I intended. With this is an easy fix. I'll just unwiden it. How's that? They're going to say there's our jaggedy edge. This is coming down like this, down here.
Hey, they're your rocks.
They are my rocks, and I'm going to just do the slant here and just bring this across here. How about that? So you see, everything's fixable with acrylics. So then we're going to say, here's our jaggedy edges going this way, sort of like slate. Does that make sense? And then this is sort of kind of got a crack here too. All right. So far, so good, yeah? Yes and yes, huh?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Another little kind of a rock slate thing here. Something like that. Okay. And then this is coming along here, this little crack at an angle. See this little angle, please? Going back this way, all right? So now all I have to do is just color in the light colors. It's pretty easy, right? So to start with white and a little yellow oxide, that's a good color. And maybe a little bit of purple, that's a good color. Put that in there, kind of a light beige color. And let's start with up here like this. We're just going to say, here's the top of this rock. Everything's layered, but we can do that. And let's do the top of this one too, okay? Light's coming from the top somehow. So that was the purple grays yellow because it's on it's opposite yellow on the color wheel. So like a drop, like again, something like the head of a pin, just the tiniest bit will tone it back. Now, if you understand that when you watch our channel, one of the things you're going to get is a lot of different advice on how to mix paint. And in the sense that we're going to give you lots of different colors and ways to mix color. I don't mix a lot at one time. Do you notice that? I just do a little tiny bit at one time with the brush to try and, if this was a large painting, if I was doing this like 30 by 40, I'd mix a pile of this color so I'd have enough of it. All right, does that make sense? So a little yellow oxide. Here we go. We're going to come across here like this. Some of our lighter colors here on top of this. Now you see before it wasn't really covering. That's okay, they're rocks. So now let's just come under here And I've got a little angle. Let's see, is this my angle brush? Yeah, a little bit of an angle brush coming under here like this. Maybe I'll leave a little tiny crack where that rock is. Make a little ledge here.
That looks like the 3/8 inch ruby satin silver angle.
Yeah, little satin silver. Now let's take a little brown and add to this. A little bit of burnt umber. Okay, just kind of gray this a little and add some grayer tones back into here, underneath here, like this. We're going to say that there's some cracks in the rock. What we're leaving is the dark brown as the cracks. Does that make sense? A little bit more brown, and that's got some blue in it. Let's come over here to this pile. Kind of a light brown here color, like that. Say that under here is our ledge on the rock. And again, we can leave some of this dark color as our as the cracks. We don't have to paint them all in. And I'm going to come down here and just lower this a little bit. I think we said like that. Just lower that down here. Now we're going to go this way. Let's get a color that's kind of good. Let's make an orange color, red and cad red medium and cad yellow medium. Make an orange. Put a little purple in that. That makes another brown, kind of a warmer brown. Let's do a little bit of a warmer brown coming down this way and up on top of these rocks like this. That's right. And just kind of zigzagging in. Think of it like slate, okay? Something like this, like that. And then maybe down here, something down here like that. Now this can't be all the colors we're using. This is just a start for the colors. Like here's a little of this brown color up here. I'll add that. It's all about layering, people. It's all about layering. And let's see, if I put a little white with that, if I add a little white, we warm that up. Now what's up here like that? See, kind of a warmer light blonde color up here. Maybe a little of that color on the top of this rock, so it's just not all one color. Kind of lighten this edge here. See how I'm starting to keep adding little tiny bits of color to the rock. See even some white here. I'm going to turn it sideways now, and I want to say that the edge of this rock, which is very uneven, and I'm pulling the brush toward me and lifting up, coming down like this, and maybe I'll just stop it here. Okay? And I'm going to stop it right here too. Just say that there's some light coming this way. Something lighter up here. If I hold the brush flat, I can drop a little of that light color on there, like that. And let's lighten this up here, like that. Just barely touch it. A little bit of a light coming along here, just where the light might be catching an edge somewhere. That's what we're talking about. Maybe it's caught an edge right here, not the whole thing. Down this way. So you see how we're sort of building up these rocks. And if you got carried away, you can come back using just your angle brush and some brown and put in a few more cracks. Just burnt umber, that's a good one. And just do that. Just put in a few more cracks in your rock. Don't be afraid to come back and, kind of break up a pattern if you got carried away. This is very dark in here, a little pattern, maybe something dark right there. Notice if I make a mark on the canvas and nothing happens, I'm the first one to get more paint. And then that's what you got to do. You got to get more paint. That's just, there we go. So I'm just going to kind of bring some brush strokes down like this and kind of soften that. All right, so there's some pretty good areas for our rock. I'll have to make that a little darker, that crack. Now back up in here, I'm going to have a tree. And we've got some, here's our brown color. We've got some real, underneath here, we've got some shadows in the water, underneath our rocks. These dark shadows. Let's put a little phthalo blue and burnt umber with that. Make this sort of dark shadow color. Okay, it's pretty dark here, like that. And I want to come down in between these two rocks and make sure that we've got our cliff here. There, like that, see? So you're going to kind of bring up some of this across like that. And then we've got a back and forth now. This is the trick. Let's see, a little more brown. This is back and forth action in here of this reflection. in the water underneath the cliff, okay? Like that. You pull it down and then back and forth. And then see under here too, if you're going to say it's going to kind of go around this edge of this cliff like this. I'm just going to put these shadows in the water. And already it kind of looks like it's sitting in water. And we really haven't done anything too clever to the water. So let's keep going back and forth like this. Did you ever, anybody ever do any machine embroidery, sewing machine embroidery? Anybody in our group ever done that? John, any in the audience? Anybody has done any machine embroidery? See any yeses on that? I know there's that machine embroidery where you take your sewing machine and you make pictures with your sewing machine.
Yep. Yeah, a couple of them are saying yeah.
Okay, so you've done that. Well, for those of you who haven't done it, what you do, zigzag, when you're zigzagging a machine, all it does is the needle goes back and forth. If it stays in one place, it just makes a big pile of knots. But if you in zigzag, it goes like this. Well, machine embroidery, what you do is you put your fabric or whatever you're embroidering, your shirt or something, in a hoop to keep it really tight, stretch it like you would a canvas, and then you, in fact, something like, if you turn this up, really would be like this, except it would be a hoop. And then if you had a design, let me just show you on the back of this. If you had a design, you would just go back and forth like this with the sewing machine, and you move the machine, the needle staying here, so you just have got to move the deal.
You're moving the canvas, so to speak.
Move with the canvas, so everything, but the machine's just doing this, and you drop the dog feed, so it's not feeding it. So it's up to you to move it around to do your picture, okay? Well, when you're doing water, kind of think of that. Is that a good image to think of? When you're doing water, think of that, because now what we're talking about, and I'm going to miss my paint a little bit. It's a little bit warm today, so I'm going to miss my paint just to moisten it just a bit, and let's get a little bit of kind of a light blue color here, light blue green color. Now look, what I want to do here, coming with my brush, my angle brush, is I'm going to start putting in these light patterns going back and forth like this. Now this is where phthalo green can be very nice, all right? I'm going to get that out a little bit while we're doing this. So a little tiny bit of phthalo green, we'll put it right there. And what you do is you take a little phthalo green and a little phthalo blue and a little white, and you make this sort of, let's take a little bit more white to that, a little more green. How about some yellow oxide? That's pretty. Ooh, that's a gorgeous color. Now, see this sort of turquoisey color? Now, we're just, whatever the background color was, I really don't care too much. I'm starting to break up my rock picture, and I'm just using the angle of the brush to overlap to start creating this. Now let's make something lighter here. I want something maybe lighter going out around my cliff like this. Maybe I want to say that this cliff, I think in this picture I had this pretty straight up and down right here, which I can do that just by the, like this, and say there's our water coming this way like that. We're still just putting in these beautiful colors of green, and as we get back toward this area, let's take a little phthalo blue and a phthalo green, make it something darker, come this way. It's quite a big hunk of paint right there. We could, here's something a little bit darker with the phthalo blue, phthalo green, tiny bit of yellow. All right, let's just come this way. Oh, that's good. Now we're into some darker greens as we come down into this area. Everything's going back and forth and sort of overlapping. That's the trick. We're all overlapping it. And I want something dark right under the cliffs, maybe some pure phthalo green. Let's get a little bit of darker right under here.
Well, Lori's got a comment.
Okay.
She goes, it's always amazing the way you just pick up colors and mix them all together. When I do that, I always get mud. Why is it? We never see you rinse your brush and just going from color to color.
Well, I am, because I'm going from light to dark and dark to light. But remember, I'm staying into the same tones. If I was getting into the reds, then I would have to rinse the brush and dry it. You can't, complementary colors, all right, are the colors that are across each other on a color wheel. So if you're painting in the greens, see, look at these greens and yellows. They're all in the blues. They're all in the same family. So I'm pretty much okay here. And these are okay. But if you start mixing these two together, you get mud. So that's what you need to avoid, is knowing, what is that, know when to fold them in that song, remember?
Yeah.
Well,
That'd be a Kenny Rogers favorite.
Kenny Rogers, is that who sang that? Yeah, well,
Yeah,
there you go.
The Gambler.
The Gambler. So you need to consider.
Need to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
When to dry them and when to not, okay? See, we got some kind of yellow. Now let's take pure yellow oxide, because it's going to mix right on the canvas, because I know this is wet, right? So I can take some pure yellow oxide here and just add some of this color to here like that, and I'm still in the water. So I've got these beautiful sort of grotto colors.
Grotto colors.
Yeah, grotto colors. Yeah, John. Grotto colors. John, when we were talking about what to name this, he said, "What's a grotto?" And I said, "What do you mean, what's a grotto?" And he, and a grotto, is those Italian little coves. They're like these little caves and stuff that are on the Mediterranean, and this beautiful blue water. So I'm saying that's a cave there. I think it's stretching it a bit to call it a grotto, but it sounded good to me. Artists get a little artistic license on this stuff.
Even with the title.
Even with the title. See here, I'm coming out here with a little bit of light here on this rock here, maybe on this edge, like that. Okay, and let's come down here and do the same thing. I want something a little bit lighter. I think I want a gray. So if I want a gray, red, ultramarine blue, and white makes a gray. That's your mud color, okay, right like that. So we're going to put a little bit of gray color now in our rocks, all right? We're going to come under here like that and say, here's some gray, a little bit of a light gray on the shelf, like that. Let's just come up here like this. This is great, some gray colors. So remember, nothing is ever the same color. And as you're mixing colors, think about that you're overlapping. I want this a little bit lighter. See, I'll put the paint on the brush and then wipe it off and reshape the brush for some little light area, so that I'm really, it's not all that delicate, but it looks delicate because of the way we're painting it. See that little bit of light right there? Here too, okay? How about right up here on this edge? Yeah, let's just lighten this up too. Yeah, see all these little colors of gray and stuff on the rock. And that only can happen from layering, okay? Here it goes. We started with beige, and now we've got this light color, okay? And then I think I might put some of this light color in the water too. Just some of this rock color right in the water here. It's not quite white, but I've got it in here. I've got a little bit of a reflection coming in the water, like that. And I like this gray here. I need a little bit of, let's divide this rock up a little bit. Come here, it's like shale or something on a slate. Okay, we divided that rock up, kind of cool. And I think we need a little bit more in the reflections underneath here. So let's make the darker reflection under our rock here. Just do that. Let's just bring this down a little bit. And then over here too. We don't want to lose any of our darks. Okay, under here like this. There we go, into the water. Okay, so that gives it some real depth. And then if you go back into your phthalo greens, as you go down, let's make this darker right here. As you go down, see how that's just, look at that beautiful reflection. Then the trick is you take a few little light ones and put over it to make it look like it's underwater. See? Cool, huh? And let's do that over here too. It's a nice effect. I can just a little bit darker under here like that, okay? There we go. That's pretty. And then let's lighten up something like this. So you do something across it, and then it looks like a really cool reflection, doesn't it? All right, so we've got some pine trees right here. This is pretty cool, right? We've got some pine trees, and remember we talked about wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So I'm going to take a clean brush, doesn't have any paint on it. I'm going to go into my white paint, flatten it out, and then wipe it off, right? Holding it flat, I'm going to come up here like this and add, this is dry now, and add some lighter clouds. Paint on the brush, flat, holding my finger like this. And just pushing now, I'm just sort of shoving it in. It's not light anymore because I could use mixing white too, but I just want to say that there's some lighter clouds right here maybe just in this area. Okay. All right. Just want it a little bit lighter than I had it. Here we go. How about this? A little bit lighter, flat. Now I'm barely touching it. I'm just going to do some a little bit thicker paint here, and it's just suggesting some clouds this way, and maybe over here. And then how about right down here on our water line? Let's just come down over this, like let's kind of fuzz all this out. Okay. There we go. Now, next step. Any more questions while I'm waiting for our next step here?
Let me take a look through the old list here, see what I missed. Conversation's been going flying by pretty quick.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Well, John's looking for a question. I'm mixing a very, very dark green, and I'm going to say I've got some sort of interesting Mediterranean type pine trees coming up this way. I don't know what kind of a tree this was. I actually had a reference for this, so I'm not totally making this up. Let's get this a little darker. Okay, let's say this is some sort of bush here, and I've got it really dark down here at the bottom coming up over here. Now as we change shapes, now this is the key here. I can't have a little blob, so we're just going to suggest some trees going up like this. I didn't dry that white. I think it'll be okay. Now I'm going to come up here. This is just some sort of cute little bush that's growing up here using just the corner of my brush. Got the question, John?
Yeah, Deborah, she's a new viewer. We got a lot of new people on here. She's curious on how long you've been involved with acrylics. Did you do oil paints first?
No, I did acrylics first. My mother was an oil painting artist, and she did oil paint. She started late. She started probably after 50. She took it up, and so we had an art studio in on our property. If I had the book, I'd show it to you guys. That my book, the little art studio. It was an army barracks. My dad bought her an old army barracks that was surplus, and he set it up there. There was no plumbing or anything. I think we had water. I mean, it was kind of in the woods right by the house, and so then it had a pot-bellied stove in the middle for heat in the winter, and she could paint in there. It was a great studio, and that's kind of that was the inspiration. When I got acrylics, really started to come into their own in the early 60s, where they started to be available, and that's what I took up as acrylics when nobody else was even painting acrylics. And so it was a real challenge. I want another little tree right here, okay? It was a real challenge to paint them. Maybe get this a little darker. Because, one, there were no books out on it. I mean, you were just guessing. And, I mean, the first acrylic painting I did, I was so proud. I think I got a Walter Foster book on oil. And I just started treating it. There were lots of books on oil, so whatever the oil painters were doing, that's what I did. Okay? Let me just just tilt this up a bit. I didn't want it to be leaning out that way, my goodness, no. All right, so there's that little tree right there. Let's do another one down here. So anyway, I got this Walter Foster book, and I just started, following instructions on how to do that. And I'm going to come on up here about like this. I want this a little browner. This is my trunk. This is more of a real pine tree. Here, like that, okay? And let's start with the pine trees. Now, we have a really good video on YouTube on trees, and the playlist on how to do trees. So here's what we don't want. Do I have a little thing here? Here's what we don't want, you guys. And I'm seeing this all the time, and I can't tell you how many times I've said this. I don't know why I'm still seeing it, because I've told everybody, right? Everybody should know this right now. What we're not doing is this. Okay? We're not doing that. Promise. Everybody's good with that? Okay. So we're not doing that. Go ahead and laugh. We're getting some laughter there in the group, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're not doing that. But, well, I think, the thing about it is I'll try to put a link in this video, when we're actually, when it goes,
when it's done.
When it's done. When it's processed and done, I'll see if I can't put a link. I don't like to put them ahead of time because I never know what I'm going to talk about, right?
Never knows what comes up with the group.
or what people want to know either. You just don't know, right? So let's just skip a space now. Let's let some trunk show. That's one of the tricks. So let's little trunk show. Okay, and let's get a little orange going here. Right like that, a little trunk showing. And on this tree, these aren't Christmas trees in the sense that they're not perfect. They're growing in the wild. Little birds have been sitting on them. Terrible storms have happened. There's going to be leaves, branches in front of you, just kind of like this, that are looking at you. So I'm going to just say maybe there's something that's coming in front of the tree that we're going to bring off like this. And then maybe something up from the bottom from this tree like this, and some sort of branch is coming up like this. There's about, I don't know, 500 or 600 different kinds of pine trees, all right? And so what I would tell you is this: if your tree looks slightly different than mine, you can tell people it was one of the others.
Absolutely.
So what was the question? I forgot what the question was. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you answered that question, but then we had another one come in from Karen. She's curious as she watches a lot of the other YouTube artists, and they use a lot of water, and she's not seen you go to the wishing well, as it were.
No, we don't, because we're doing the oil painting style. See, we rinse the brush, I'm changing colors, but we're not using a lot of water now. Do you see that? So
that's really the only time you go back to the wishing well, so to speak.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we're not doing that. We're changing colors. I'm coming in here now. I want some more light colors, almost white now in my water. See, oops, that's way too much paint. Way too much paint. And let me just rinse that brush again. You get mud if you here, we're gonna wipe that off. There. You get mud if you don't start with a clean brush. So, all right, so here we go. So a little bit of light in here in the water. I like that. Just lighter water. Let's take some of the phthalo green and white. It's such a pretty color, isn't it? And come up here, just really get that. Maybe put a little yellow with it. There we go. That's pretty. Kind of pick up some of these colors. Some turquoise is, if you phthalo blue and green and phthalo green and together, gives a great turquoise color. And again, we're talking about layering. You see here now. Now here's what you can do if you got a little carried away with your tree. Put some, just come back, right, when it's dry, not now, but come back and just poke a few holes in it, right? Just allow some of the watercolor to show back through, see? So even if you got really nuts with this tree, you can reshape it just with your blue. Does that make sense? And I still think I want a little bit of, and then remember the top of the trees are lighter, because that's the sun shining on the top. So maybe I'll say that there's some more gold branches. And I think in this picture we put some vines coming down here, some dark green vines, just coming down here over the cliff edge. This is a good place, particularly anywhere you felt your rock wasn't at its best. This isn't a bad place to put some, just dotting it. They're connected, they're not little dots. You see I'm connecting them. And I'm just putting some vines that are sort of growing down the cliff face. Lighter ones on top. Okay, so did I answer that question, John?
Yes, you did.
I'm having a moment. I can't remember what I've told anybody.
Well, it's about the water. You water. You rinse between colors.
Yeah, rinse
if you're in the
same
family, you just keep going.
Yeah, keep going. But remember, now here's something that's very important. If you're doing something very light like this, and you're trying to get back to a dark color over it, it's harder, because the dark color is going to mix with the light color, and you're not going to get it. So you start with the darkest colors first, and you go up. If you need to go light again after you've done dark again after you've done light, then what you want to do is dry it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you want your dark, kind of save ash. It's exactly right. I think people understand that. You exactly right, John. You want to just say that you want your darker colors underneath. And I've got some growing along here, so I'm pinching the brush. Instead of rinsing it, I'm just pinching the brush, wiping off the majority of paint. I know what I have on the brush. Maybe I've never explained this. I know I have on the brush, so basically what I'm doing is mixing colors. And when it starts to not work anymore, I will mix colors right on a wet color on my picture. So even though I went straight into yellow, just on the brush, when I hit that dark blue, green color, it just it changed the color on it. Does that make sense? Here's a little bit of yellow oxide, which has a little bit more gold in it. I kind of like that. Some gold colors coming down here. Let's just bring some gold up here on these, maybe through here, like that. Okay. So now all I have to do now, okay, which I think we're doing pretty well. I love how this is coming out, don't you, John?
Yeah, it's coming along nicely.
Coming along nice. It's kind of fun. We have had such a funny week. I'm telling you, some of the strangest things have been happening to us this week. But I gotta give. I think my friend Lorraine gets the shout out for the strangest thing that happened to her. To me, this was very odd. She's got this swimming pool she had put in last year. Remember that when they had that pool put in?
Yeah.
And apparently, she finally, after months, finally got the people that did it to come out and look at it, which doesn't bode well for me ever hiring them to do anything, you know. And anyway, they came out and they looked at her swimming pool, and they emptied all the water out of it because she said there was something wrong with the plaster, and then them crumbs just left. They left.
They drained it and
left. And that's like $200 or $300 to fill up a swimming pool because hers is deep. Ours is shallow. Our pool was designed where you could play volleyball in it and walk across. It's only about chest high. You can swim laps and stuff in it. But I mean, her pool's deep. I mean, she's got $300 worth of water in it. She's got a dime, you know, because you have to buy that. You just don't rain and filling it up. Okay, here's a little bit of white here, lightening up my clip again.
Did they say anything to her, or they just?
No, they just left, and she can't get a hold of him. They left her with this empty pool. She doesn't know she's supposed to fill it back up. And as I recall, now I could be wrong on this, but as I recall, in the wintertime, it is not a clever thing to leave your pool empty because if the ground gets too wet, doesn't it pop up out of the ground?
Yes, well, we've heard that it freezes and things that shifts.
Yeah. So
that's something that doesn't sound like should have been done.
Well, I don't think they should have left it, and they didn't tell her anything. They just left. You see, I'm going to come back with some more cracks on the rocks. I thought that was really funny. And then the other weird thing that was happening is when we were on our vacation. Do you have those My Sugar things? I'm going to show everybody this. Okay, so I want to talk about My Sugar thing. I'm not. You don't see me. I'm not Ralph Nader, okay? I'm not a whistleblower on stuff, but every once in a while something catches my attention that I think is extraordinary. And if it were happening, if I was directly responsible for having to buy this product and I felt like I was getting cheated, I would be hopping mad, all right? So we're going to find you so when we were, you always remember on my birthday, we went on a 5-day Mediterranean cruise. You guys remember that? And we had really good fun. I want to again thank Sharon and everybody for doing it. And besides, one of the things I like to do on a cruise besides eat, it's just like really fun. Okay, is I really just like to sit down when I'm doing my art critiques because we get the internet, so I can do art critiques. We work probably about 3 to 4 hours every morning on our, designing either paintings for YouTube using my computer, or we're doing art critiques, or John is answering questions. We're not just fooling around here, you guys. And then, of course, we're taking lots of pictures when we go to shore, trying to find new things to paint, okay? So John's finding my stuff. All right, so here's what I found. And I mean, this is not an anomaly. Anomaly meaning, for those of you whose English is a second language, and maybe hadn't heard that word, anomaly means unusual, kind of an odd thing. This was common. I found a lot of these. I just brought you 2, and you're going, what did you bring us? I know. What did you bring us?
What are you talking about?
Do you have those little paddly things too? Those were cute. I'm going to share those.
No, I don't.
Oh, he doesn't have my paddly things. Oh, and those were so good. Well, we'll show you those next time.
Next show.
Next show. All right, going to show you the paddly things next show. All right, see how I got a little dark under here? See, isn't this looking good? We haven't even done much, right? Just a little dark here for the
Well, you haven't done much. You've painted a painting.
Well, I guess we did, didn't we? But it feels like time goes so fast when I'm playing with you guys. All right, here's my thing. All right, everybody's seen this. This is Royal Caribbean, and this is the sugar. They obviously hire this out to somebody. Here's a little packet of sugar, right?
But we don't know what company.
We don't know. We have our scale. Do we have a scale that would measure this?
Not that light.
Not that. All right. So, all right. There's and see, if you fold it over, you got about that much sugar in the package. Okay. Now here's the other package, and if you fold it over, you got this much sugar. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but let me share this with you. If you've got
100,000 packets.
100,000 packets that are going out every week to ships all over the world because one company's doing this for everybody, okay?
Somebody is making off like a bandit.
Somebody is making a huge profit because if they're shorting the company, and I really believe they are shorting Royal Caribbean, they're shorting the company. It sounds small, but a good example is some years ago in Florida, there was a particular subdivision where all the roofs had flown off because of a bad storm, but nobody else's roof around it flew off, and they were in the same general path, just these guys. And it turned out that the roofer had wanted to save money by not putting 5 screws in the roof that he should have put in, because he figured out he could save like about 10 grand or something by just not putting in a few more screws in the roof. And he did the whole subdivision. Well, how much money do you think somebody's making when they just have one packet with hardly nothing in it? And I found a bunch of these like this, very inconsistent. So I talked to one of the waiters, and I said, "Did you guys notice this?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "I did." He says, "That happens all the time. I used to fill out the sugar. That was my job." I said, "Did you ever say anything to anybody?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, listen, you should tell somebody. Because this may get you a promotion if you bring it to their attention. You should tell people.
You could be the official sugar inspector.
Yes, you could be the sugar inspector. I'm telling you, because John suggested they get a gram scale and start weighing the packets and saying, because they get boxes of these. Now they've got all these ships. They're filled to capacity all year long. They're sailing. We're going to put a few little dark shadows in their water now. Here
This has been a public service announcement.
So you guys, but I mean, if that was me buying the sugar, I would feel very cheated. And I don't think that, John says it's not deliberate. And I said, what a great scam. How do you know it's not deliberate, John? Just the kind of thing people do,
I just can't believe that. I always find the best in people.
Well, I know you do, but I think it's a scam, and I think they're doing it on purpose. From there, right? So again, I've got a few little dark shadows in here like that into our water coming this way, just kind of bringing it across. Now, if you got carried away, which some of us did, that's okay. You can erase a few just with some lights. Look at that. See?
Don't go into panic mode.
Don't go into panic mode. You can erase a few. I think this is kind of a cool painting. You guys like it? I hope you do, because I think it's kind of neat. And hope everybody had fun. Now, one thing I thought we were missing in this was seabirds, okay? So now that you've seen my public announcement to Royal Caribbean for their sugar, and we're so sorry that whoever's doing this company appears to be cheating you like, mad wild bandits. We're so sorry about that, right? I decided we needed a seagull or something right here. What do you think? Like right here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So then what I did was I Googled images of seagulls.
As only you can.
As only I can. So I, went ahead and Googled my... Here, see? My seagulls. See?
So you can take a guy that's flying right at you, huh? I'd do him.
Well, I think that might be tough for people.
How about that one there?
How about this one? How about this one? And what if we took...
That guy there.
Come here, you. Stop that. We're doing this, right? So what if we took this one? I'll just put it like this. What if we took a seagull and put him flying...
Now, before you attempt something like that, you think you should dry that whole thing, so then if you make
let's dry the whole thing. What a good idea, John. That's exactly right. Let's dry the whole thing.
Being a sock folder.
Let's dry the whole thing in case it doesn't work out and we need to wipe it off, okay? It might not work out. I'm not guaranteeing it. I just thought it would be nice, all right? John, would you like to mute the hairdryer?
I'm going to mute the hairdryer, and I'll mute you as well. Is it muted? It is muted. All right, while she's drying that off, which I think is a good idea, before you do something like this, that way if you make a mistake, you can basically wash it off because everything is dry. It's acrylic, it's plastic. Another announcement coming up is on the GingerCookLive.gallery website, our Membership Academy website. we are getting close to capacity for the PAC, or personal art coaching. Maybe Miss Queen of Color would like to talk some more about that.
I think maybe I would.
After she draws her birdie.
After draw my birdie. I'm wondering if that's too much detail for making it busy.
Well, how big are you going to make them?
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking I need to make it a little smaller. I need a bird here, but come here, birdies. Where'd you go?
He flew away.
I need a bird, but I just don't want. If you get it too busy, it seemed like such a great idea at the time. Come here, up here like this. Well, I don't want you. I want you. Man, they are just persnickety here. Go away. All right, I don't want to bookmark. Stop that. Just stop that. I was just going to do that anyway. All right. Slide bookmark off. No, now we lost bird. Good thing we bookmarked it. I don't know.
You are so challenged.
I am technically challenged. I want some new birds, man. I just lost those birds. What about these birds? I guess I'll take those birds back. This bird, okay. Let's put my glasses on so I could actually see the bird. All right, so if we had a bird coming like this, let me move this out of the way. And just sometimes you want to do stuff like this, and then sometimes you're thinking that it was a good idea, and then, like you said, John, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Let's just take our little English pencil sharpener for our. Someone says, "What kind of chalk?" This is called a Conte charcoal, white charcoal, and this is like a little English
pencil sharpener.
Pencil sharpener came from England. That's why
it was mailed over to us from a fan.
From England. Might be made in China. I don't know, but it,
But it came from England.
Came from England. I know I want some like back here, like up in here, and I'm thinking I want one right here, like this. It's
a little bit
flying.
bigger.
It doesn't have to be that great, but flying toward me like this. I think maybe just a bird right there. I feel that would be nice.
Well, again, you're dry. You put it on. Wipe it off if you don't like it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. So if I started out here with the body of the bird, is not green. That's profound, isn't it? The body of the bird is not green. He's white. Okay. So
white birdie.
So the body of the bird is white here, and we don't want a lot of detail in it, but let's just say the body. Here's our little body of the bird. He's got a little round head like that. Let's see if we could pull this off. And then the wing is kind of brown, believe it or not. Let's see if I can make this work. But that's why we want to. Okay, so here's his wing like this, and you're just barely seeing some of it like that. And then the other wing's coming up here like this. This is where a little bit of water on the. This is where you want a little bit of water. There you go. Just miss the paint here. I'm going to say this is that's this one, and this is coming up like this. This is coming up like this, and the little feeties are coming off like that. I don't know if we're going to do the feeties like that. Do you say that word, feeties? Do you say little feeties?
And yeah, little feeties.
Little
they're probably tucked up underneath his body.
This tuck, and he's kind of white, but he really isn't. Okay.
He's a dirty bird.
Yeah, so there's let's see. So he's got a little shading on his tummy here like that. And let's see, I'm just trying to suggest, this is hard because it's so small. And see, like something like that's way too big. I need a smaller brush is what we need here. Let's just wipe that off. This isn't going to work. Maybe we need a tiny brush is what needs to happen here. What do we got? Something small. And then we're going to roll it to a point here like that. That will make it smaller. Let's see if we can't get this to happen now. All right, so we got a little tiny beak sticking out here. Oh yeah, better. Yeah, the right size brush for the job is good, right? And then here's the head, like this. Here's the body coming under here like this.
That's a good looking
bird. Then
bird.
There's the top of the wing is white, like that. Start with the dark part. Pinch the brush. Here's one thing you can do. This is Golden's Fluid White, okay?
As if we can see it as you're shaking it. There we
go. Yeah, okay.
Make it a challenge. Yeah, this is it. Just trust me. That's what it really is.
You can buy them, and you can get them in tiny little containers. You don't need a giant one. They come like this. Thanks to Judy, she sent me these. They come little too. You only need a tiny one for this detail. When you're trying to do stuff with detail and you're just kind of pulling your hair out because the detail ain't happening. So here, let's try a little of that. I'm shaking it so that it would wipe the brush off. Here you go. Oh, see, look at that. See, here's the white right on top of this here, like that. Here's the little tail feathers coming like this. Now the bottom of the bird has got a little bit of a, shadow on the tummy. Maybe a little bit of brown. This is where raw umber would be handy too, because it's just so, you don't need a lot of brown on the bottom of the tummy. That looks green. Let's take that off.
It looks blue.
Well, it does. Well, potatoes.
Yeah, green, blue, they're identical.
So let's just lighten this up again. All right, so we're going to say there's our shadow on our bird. Now, let's just take a little bit of this. One of the ways you can kind of make stuff like this work is you can paint the ocean around him so he shows up. Now, remember the rule, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. This is Jonathan over here. Remember Jonathan Livingston Seagull?
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, Mary Seagull or somebody else Seagull.
Billy Bob Seagull.
Yeah, Bob Dylan Seagull. This is Jonathan Livingston Seagull right here like that, okay? Now, see, he's flying. Now I'm going to make it, I'll just keep playing with this. Where did my picture go? Man, you turn this computer, I should have put it on never turn off. Because now I've got to start again. Okay, I'm seeing it. All right, so I want it pretty dark brown. Almost a little purple with it. I want it really dark under here like this. See, this is the darkest part of his wing. Now that I've got a tiny brush, I can fool with it. A little bit darker under his tummy. Not that I want to outline him, but I will just do a little bit of shadow here under his tummy, okay? Now, then he's got these little, you see me pinching the brush all the time. He's got these little legs that are sticking down like this. That's how we know he's flying, okay? Little eye. I don't know if you would even see an eye. I don't think you would, but there you go. Just maybe you see an eye. I guess now. Actually you see an eye. Yeah, I guess I'm seeing eyes on these. And then here's the back of his
tail feathers.
Tail feathers. Now here's the trick. Oh, there's a trick. Yeah, see, if you put a dark shadow down here, like this, it kind of looks like he's above the ground. Do you see what I mean? If I do
above
this,
above
the water, I put a dark shadow underneath him, then it looks like, let's see, let's just do that with a little bit of blue too. Let's just do a little shadow under here. Now I feel like he's flying. Does that make sense? Because the shadow indicates that he's not sitting on the water. Like that. Okay, something like that. I think that shadow would work. Maybe I'll make it a little thicker shadow here. We're making this up. This is the part we're making up, but that's okay. All right, here's the shadow. And, here's our bird, see? So now it's more like, you see, it feels much more like he's flying than not. And let's finish up with a small brush and just go around his beak and kind of clean it up a little bit, with some colors from the water, which we can do. Like right here, we did some chalk and stuff, so we want to, I'm going to erase some of the white so that he shows up the most. Does that make sense? And if that's light there, then let's take a little bit of green right here. See, remember, wherever there's a dark, there's a light. So if you have a little dark color by the light color, then the bird is even, see how he's starting to come out even more? And then this is not magic. This is just lights and darks. That's all this is, lights and darks. So then you come up here like this, some more white, like that, over the wing here, like that, second coat of white. Okay, see our birdie?
It's a good looking birdie.
That's kind of cool, isn't it? And then really, honestly, it was just the small brush that made that happen. Okay, so let's just put some green right here. But we had that darker green, that darker phthalo green, see? We have that right next to the wings. And now that makes him show up.
Makes him pop.
Yeah, just sort of pop the bird. Then, well, we're not really popping birds. What a funny idea, pop the bird. Okay, so then when you want to say that something's farther away, this is a neat trick. Put a little puddle of water somewhere so you can get to it. So you want to say something's farther away. So if we're going to barely touch some birds back here.
They're way out there.
They're way back here. Just do like 3, like that. Okay. Then maybe let's just be the last of the big spenders here. Put up a few little bigger birds here. Okay. So we've got some birds flying. I like that, don't you? We've got the birds flying, and we've got our little seagull. And I'd say we have a painting, John. I think that's kind of cool. Let me just look and double check and see if I've got enough darks by the back of our stuff here.
Looks pretty good.
I think we're doing pretty good. Could you take a little brush and fool around and take a little?
Oh, you can make a day of it.
You could make a day of it, but you kind of get the idea of how we're painting this. And I really think this is very nice. Let's just put a little more white right here. Probably need to dry him if I want more white to show up, but there we go. All right, so there's our birdie flying over the water. There's our tree.
Over Chester's Cove.
Over Chester's Cove. That is our picture for the day. How cool is that? So, oh, wait, because I've got more stuff to show you.
Wait, there's still more.
Besides giving the giveaway. Look, I want you to know that we're doing all kinds of different paintings on YouTube and on our Art Academy, all right? This is a new one that's coming up on YouTube, and this is a gazebo with a rose garden and gazebo. This is a very loose painting. You're going to love how easy this painting is to do. Look at these beautiful mauve colors in the background. This sort of very pretty gazebo with a path. We've got that one. And then another lesson that's coming up on YouTube in the next week or two, we're going to be doing this. Let me just take it off of here. I love this one. This is, again, kind of painting loose. We talked about trying to paint loose stuff. And if you remember, one of our first entries into that was our pears, and everybody seemed to enjoy painting that. This is our wagon wheels with flowers. And again, this is a kind of a close-up of a garden with a couple of wagon wheels as decorations. And we've got this loose garden painting here. That's going to be one of our YouTube lessons. And then I've got something really cool to show you. For on our website, on the gingercooklive.gallery website, one of the things that we've been showing people, where would those be? Oh yeah, the things that here they are. We're delving into more detail. Besides doing some very simple back to basic lessons every month, we do one of those. Every week our members get a new lesson. This is Trix, the dog, and my granddaughter, Honey, or rather Luna. This is Luna and the dog, and we've got how many hours is this video?
That's just shy of 4 hours.
Just shy of 4 hours on that. That's for our members coming up.
And you talk about layering.
We're talking about layering, and we're using a glazing medium with that. We're using golden a glazing medium to to get some of the blending done. So that is, I think, really a fun one. And then this past week we released our Woody, our famous station wagon with the surfboard, and it's a palette knife technique. This was one I think our members are going to have a ball with. Seen a few already. They're pretty fantastic. And you finish it off using a palette knife, so it's a combination of painting and palette knife. And then the last thing I want to show you is that one of the things that we're trying to do with everybody. Let's see, where's my papers over here? You gave me some papers, John. There's this one. This one, and then there's another one. Okay, so you guys see this? This is just a photograph I found on Pixabay. And I've got a, and then I have a special video just for our members on Academy on how to go into a painter program called Painter 6 or even Painter 5. And these are programs that are under $50. And I show you, most people think they're just photographers, but I'm telling you what, I've been using these for years. I find a photograph like this, and then I actually have a video step by step on how to take that painting and turn it into this picture with a fabulous sky like that and a sunset. And and how you can use just a normal photograph and get yourself some really good ideas. And sometimes when you're painting, you think you might want to put something and you don't. You can take your painting into, for instance, you could have, with the knowledge that you will get from that video, you could photograph the painting without the birds, come into the program, put the birds in, move them all around, see where you wanted them, and then come back and put them on your picture. This is a time saver. This is absolutely fabulous. And let me show you the final painting here that we got. And then we did a separate lesson after that. This is part of this. This is part of the lesson. Then I show you the final product of, painting the sky and the field. I went ahead and left out the hay bales, but I did paint them in originally, so I didn't like them. Added some houses. So we went from this is inspiration to this. And again, this is all on Ginger Cook Live website. I'm telling you what, being a member, besides getting personal art coaching, we have some amazing videos, that I think you guys are going to love. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one.
Chester's Cove.
Chester's Cove. I'm going to do a fast giveaway here, 10-minute giveaway.
Let me put that link up for you.
You put the link up. There's a link up right now for those of you who are watching and want to enter.
This is just for the live studio audience.
Just a live community. And here's just one of these pieces of canvas, real canvas that John has painted with leftover paint. Okay. And I'm just going to take a minute here and show you.
There it is. There's the link, and the secret word is Cove.
And here's the word is Cove, right? So what I want to do here is I'm just going to, I think I'm just going to take a, something like this.
Form is open, so start entering them in, guys.
Start entering them in.
So you can do a rope?
I think I'm going to do a rope, John. Just
cool.
A rope. I just wanted to do a section of a rope to show. I know I kind of drew it in there, right? But then I didn't. The problem was that we're just using it with the leftover paint. The problem was that it's hard to tell with chalk, right? So I wanted to just let's see. I think I want these to go this way, like that. We're just going to change the direction of these ropey things, and then curve them around like this. And I just wanted you to get an idea of how to paint these. And I know there's a temptation to want to draw them out, and it's hard though, because then you see it's much easier for me to just do something like that. Okay, you say that there's this rope coming up like that. Maybe it's going back behind here, coming this way. I'm going to kind of show you. So there we go.
All about brushstroke direction.
It's all about brushstroke. This is a really good one on brushstroke direction, isn't it? Don't you think so? A really good one on.
It's either going to make it or break it.
Yeah, because if you don't get the right direction on it, you're gonna and the rope is not it's not just a straight line. It's kind of curved on the top and the bottom. It's got a bit of a curve to it. I'm just going to run it off the canvas like that. I'm going to run this off like this. Then I'm going to take a minute and dry it. Okay. Just wanted you to see how you might paint it. But one thing you would do is you'd want a shadow. Let's take some purple and cad red medium. We haven't used a lot of that color. If you want to say that your rope is sitting on something, you'd want a shadow underneath it, right? And if you're saying that it's kind of up in the air, then you wouldn't. So we might take some purple, just come under here and darken all this. Just stuff like that, when you're talking about painting something. If you want to say what you saw with the bird, if you want to say the bird's floating, flying, then put the shadow lower. Okay, so I think this is all sitting on here. Maybe there's a little bit of a shadow under here too, like that. Maybe it's coming up off the thing. So I've got a little shadow. Put a little blue with it too. That's too much. A little bit of brown. Okay, like this. We're going to just say, put some red with that. All right. Ooh, that's pretty. I like the red, don't you? Cad red medium. It's a good color. We didn't use a lot of that in our picture today, but I can think that's kind of pretty. We're going to do something like that. Here's our rope like this. Now, I can do so much before I have to dry it, but I can come back in here like this using one of these angle brushes and just put the cracks, kind of the darker cracks between the, as long as I've got the curve going. Sock folders are good at ropes because you'll get it all even. I'm not doing it particularly even, but well, it isn't always even, but you'll get that. You'll probably have a tendency to do it more. John's laughing; he thinks that's hysterical. Well, okay, so, but listen, I'm not a sock folder, but who found the sugar? And he didn't want me to say anything. He says, "Oh, that's so stupid. It's fine." I said, "No, someone has to know. I mean, it's not if it's just a box of sugar, but man, if you're the one buying the sugar, you care, right?"
And you don't think the machine just kind of had a little malfunction, got stuck a little bit?
No, because there were too many packets like that. And even the kid said that we talked to, the young man that we talked to said that yes, that he'd noticed that they weren't all full. This is not something unusual. I don't think it occurred to anybody that it might be a scam. And I mean, and who might not want to take advantage of
a big contract like that,
of a big contract like that, right? So I want you to see kind of how I'm doing it. I'm kind of putting the light over the top here. And, it's all layers, but here goes a little bit of the light color over the top. And then if you get your cracks too big, you can then kind of skinny them up like that, right? Okay, let's do this like this. And here's just the light over the top.
Little did they know they'd have a sugar inspector spot check them right there.
Well, yeah, and the thing of this is that, and then you get a big contract like that. Someone like that gets a big contract, and they think that nobody's said anything now. They've been getting away with it forever, and they think they can just keep getting away with it. And then who knows? Maybe they're doing, maybe someone else is buying sugar from them too. So who knows? You don't know who I have saved, John, from this.
That's true. I think you ought to be the sugar queen.
Telling you what, you don't know that I may have saved. I'm going to kind of turn this upside down here. I may have saved.
Well, that's really sideways and not upside down, but
really?
Unless you're turning your head with it too, I guess it could be upside down.
Okay, all right. So I'm still going here like that. Yes, I mean you don't know we don't know who we've
saved.
Who we saved, we just don't know, right? They've saved a lot of, I'm not saying save, but, well, yes, save money.
You're saving money. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? You just don't know. Here we go. All right, so this is a kind of the thing. Why don't you start our drawing, John? Because I'm about done here.
All right, let's finish up, folks. We've got a little over 400 people so far, which is great. Just keep them coming. We're going to close it off here. The link's right there for a couple more seconds. As the Queen of Color is finishing up another exciting YouTube episode. Amaze your friends. All right, closing off the link. I'm going to put up there while we're doing that. I'm going to go ahead and put that Facebook link up there one more time for you folks.
And next week we will what we're going to do is we're going to do a contest for everybody. It'll be an everybody contest again.
An everybody contest.
Because that anybody that's not watching the live, we're going to say that, okay? And I have are you doing that, John? I have a surprise for people too.
No.
Did we discuss no, we didn't. I'm actually not going to give away this one. I'm giving away this one.
No.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to give away this one because it's a completed rope, and I don't think there's much rope here. It was a good example of how to paint a rope, but that's not interesting. So we're going to go ahead and give away this one, and I will sign it. I know. And
well, let's hope they're not European.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing personal, guys. It's just expensive to get to you.
Okay, that's okay. So
all right, we're finishing up here. Looks like we got 468.
Okay, so
good crowd today.
Yeah. All right. And
Do you want to do the?
can I pick the number?
You're going to pick the number.
Oh, we should do the 5 and the 4.
Should we do the 5?
All right. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick 5 numbers. All right. Let's do 5 numbers, and then we'll do yeah, and then we'll pick one of those. And
we'll have Alexa pick the first 5. Alexa, I need a number between 1 and 468.
Yeah, 1 and 400.
Between 1 and 468 is 354.
Wow. What a gal. 354.
354. Well, do you think this will work, John? Here.
What does that say?
Of how I'm doing the numbers.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. Exactly.
Is that how we're going to do it? Was that what you were thinking?
Yep.
That's what I was thinking. All right.
All right.
All right.
So that was 354.
Yeah. So we're going to do, so 354. I'm writing that down. 354.
You got it written down, right?
Uh-huh.
Alexa, I need a number between 1 and 368.
Your random number between 1 and 368 is 100.
100, even money.
Yeah, let's just put that for this picture. What was it? 100. Wow. Okay, 100.
Alexa, I need a number between 1 and 468.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. Alexa, I need a number between 1 and 468. Alexa.
Your random number.
Go ahead, Alexa. Alexa, I need a number between 1 and 468.
Your random number between 1 and 468 is 48.
48. Ooh, that's a good one.
Alexa, stop the music. I don't know why all of a sudden she felt like she needed to chime in with that. Okay, that was, what do we got? That was 4, 3.
I have 3. I have 48, 103, 54.
Okay.
I think that's enough. Don't you think so? She's having trouble getting them.
We can go to Echo. I have more than one device, you know.
Okay.
Echo, I need a number between 1 and 468.
Your random number between 1 and 468 is 99.
Oh, I think you got connected there with Miss Alexa.
All right, well, that's fair. Still fair. 99. Yeah. If you're 99, you'll care.
Drum roll, please. Echo, I need a number between 1 and 468.
Your random number between 1 and 468 is 125.
I don't think Echo can count us on.
125. All right. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. No, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So have I will write those down on a. Actually, I need maybe I can have that paper before that we printed out on. I want this one, right? Okay, I'm going to take this and. Do I have scissors? Man,
no,
I have.
The scissors away from you.
Well, why did you take the scissors away from me? Now I have to.
Cut yourself.
Now I have to. Oh, so will you stop with that? I've never cut myself. What are you just?
What do you mean? Never cut yourself?
No.
Really?
2, 3.
Let's think about that.
4, 5. All right, so I'm going to write these numbers down.
You're going to write those numbers down.
And we're going to pick one out, right?
Pick one out. Are you guys all excited?
1,
the
2,
anticipation.
3.
It's unbelievable.
4, 5. All right. That's a little. 5's a little sad here. It's too small. Let's make 5 a little bigger number here. There we go. 5. All right. Now, I will put those in the magic coffee pot. Oh, I dropped a number. Got to make it now. What did I drop? What did I drop? Where'd it go? Well, it's too far down. I dropped 4. We need 4 again. Oh, 4's going to feel cheated if they're on the floor, right? So 4.
And you know, it's a lot easier for me just to ask the girls to pick a number.
Yeah, but I don't trust them.
What?
I don't think that those guys, when it gets that small, I don't think that I don't trust them.
You don't think they can be random numbers?
No, I'm going to take all the stuff out of my cup here. And here, random numbers here. Dump all the other numbers out here. All right.
Shake it up. Shake it up good.
I'm shaking it up.
Roll it around.
Moving around. All right, I'm pulling out a number.
And the number is
number 3.
Number 3. Let's see. Number 3 is.
Number 3 is
Judy Guitar.
Oh my God,
Can
Judy!
you believe that?
Oh my God! Well, congratulations, Judy, for winning this. We're so pleased that you did. Judy's done an awful lot for our academy, and just man, it was Elizabeth and now Judy. That's pretty cool, you guys. So congratulations, Judy. We'll get this off to you after we have a chance to varnish it. So
yeah,
congratulations.
Gotta seal it and all
I hope
that.
everybody enjoyed our show. Don't forget that to subscribe if you have not. Remember, we've got some look for. These will not be live shows that are coming up. This one will not be a live show, nor will be the. These will be just pre-recorded because, like I say, we're traveling in Florida, and so we're not doing. You're not going to see these. Where's the other one? I had this one. Where did we lose all these pictures? This one. Where'd the other one go?
I have.
Here. This one is. This is the other one. This one and the gazebo. These are lessons that are coming up on YouTube in the next couple of weeks. So
And those are both 8x10s, right?
These are both 8x10s. So I hope you guys think they might be fun to paint. I hope you enjoyed painting this grotto painting for us. And love you guys, and thanks for watching. And have a fabulous day.
We really appreciate everybody joining us. Remember to join up with the Facebook group as quick as possible because the doors will be closing shortly on that. And the Art Academy, GingerCookLive.gallery.
One last announcement, John, because you asked me to talk about personal art coaching, and then we didn't.
I did, and you didn't do it.
We didn't do it. Here's the deal, because people get so confused. One of the benefits, I want to thank our people, like our early members, like Victoria and Andrew, people that had been with us from the beginning. When we first started our Academy of Fine Art, we just had about 20 lessons up. We added one a week. We didn't have very many. Now we have over 350. We still add one a week, and they range from one cookie to a box of cookie lessons. But what's so cool about it is that once you are in, like for instance, those guys were grandfathered into the original price. If we're on for another 20 years, they'll never pay more a month than when the first started. In the second year, those guys, as long as they kept their membership current, they're grandfathered in. And not only that, but they are all the members that are currently there now, if they are not dropping out, are guaranteed personal art coaching from me, right? That's what we said we would do. We would do it. I have to stay up till 2 in the morning to get it done. But we're reaching capacity now where it won't be a month or two, I think, goes by where we'll have to put people on a waiting list and wait for a existing member to drop out and to get it, be able to do personal art coaching. Even though we've told people that they could send in 3 a week, we were asking just as a favor to me if you would kind of limit it to 1 for a while.
You're kind of self-police yourself.
Just self-police. I mean, if you really have a burning question, send it in again. Or, if you're working on one and you're still working on one and another week comes and you want to send another one in, that's fine. But
we're just helping. Just try to lighten the load a little bit. We want to give as many people the opportunity, especially with this new video.
Yeah, I'd rather take more time on one coaching and really give you the
full benefit.
The full benefit of the coaching. And even if one lady, I mean, this happened true. Now I got to share this real quick. This one lady wrote, we sent this painting back and forth, one painting between her and I about 3 times. I said, yeah, that's good, but now fix this. Yeah, that's good, but now fix this. Well, her husband saw it last night and said, Josh, that's gorgeous. He went and took a picture of it, unbeknownst to her, put it up on his Facebook page, and it sold. Immediately. So, we want you to be able to sell your artwork and to make money for supplies and all that stuff. We're here to help you guys be better artists and to maybe answer questions and to, enjoy your art experience. So anyway, that's my plug for personal art coaching. You might want to join the Academy now too, huh?
And that's at GingerCookLive.gallery.
There you go. Bye, guys.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, that's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure.
I got to find my thumbnail. Hold on. You think it's easy to find this stuff?
Well, I'm just looking around here. I have stuff on the desk. I can't find it. Right?
I just have on the screen.
I'll try to remember to put these links up for all these pictures.
Ah, there it is.
All right.
All right, you're gone. All right, night, everybody.
I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin, silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.